Hello and welcome to a virtual walkthrough of the Motel of Terror 2008. And this video was shot kind of quick and dirty the morning of the party. Anyway, so here we are, we're entering the Motel of Terror motel office. This is the Regatta Motel in the storyline. We've got all these phony news clippings and pictures of the Regatta family that supposedly used to own the place in the 40s and 50s. And the tragedy there was the children were born deformed and wound up killing each other after the parents died and falled over the place. And it's been rumored that it's been haunted and everything else, but basically the kids have been living inside the walls of this place for many years and just killing anybody who shows up. So guests then enter into cabin number 1, where we've got all these wonderful teal walls, $5 gallon of paint at Sears, gotta love it. And everything's all grimy, of course, cobwebs, blood galore. And we've got a picture up on the wall that kind of could see above the bed there. There's an eyeball inside the wall kind of looking out at you, and there were sound effects and breathing and grunting and stuff associated with that. And there's lighting outside the window. Now, of course, nothing's turned on when this was shot. If you look up here, there's a couple speakers hidden up on the rafters. Now, everything is covered with tarps. The whole thing had to be tented like a circus, just in case it would rain or anything, so we had to have a runoff, because this was just built on a concrete slab. So you can see all the cobwebs, the 50s glasses, really cool. Ashtrays in every room, and lots of dust. So here's one of our props here. This girl, she's pinned to the door with an axe, and as you walked up to her, her head would pop up and frighten you. So then from there, you go through the closet into this cutout hole in the wall. Now you're inside the walls. You can see the exposed lath on the walls and all these grimy things hanging down everywhere. And of course, this isn't the show lighting. You just got sunlight poking through. And there's wonderful yucky corpses everywhere. As you walk through here, the sound effects, hidden speakers. And as you walk down this long corridor, you see this little girl sitting down at the end. Now we're going to turn around and we're going to see one of those speakers way up there on the top that kind of sets the tone as you enter this area. And then there's air hoses everywhere running along the tops of the walls. So anyway, this is the first Regatta child that you come across, and she's of course slightly deformed. And her leg is swinging slowly. There's a little motor that runs it, and there's candles lighting her face, and she's got her old Raggedy Ann doll. And she's a sloppy eater, apparently. Kind of spooky. So then one of the gags here is you come up to her and you expect something to happen, but what actually happens is you step on a sensor mat, and it blasts air at your ankles right out of that little hidden tube there. So you can see right down there, there's a mat underneath the rug. And then from there, you've got all these Regatta portraits on the wall. And this area was really dark, so you couldn't really make them out. We just kind of pulled up some old pictures we had. And a couple of the pictures are of actual props that are features in the haunt. And then, of course, one's a mirror to kind of scare people when they see themselves. Another corpse hidden up there. Yeah, so this area, we've got that boy up on top there, and his head turns from side to side and his arms move a little bit, and he kind of watches you. He's up that ladder there, ready to spring on you possibly. And then what would happen is you step in, Pa Regatta, who you can't really see too well, he's down there. He would pop straight up. He's a pneumatic air prop, and he'd pop up about 4 feet or 3 or 4 feet and scare you. And down here, there was a head through that wall there who was suffocated and strangled. And we're going to look back the other way real quick. And there he is. So this poor guy, he was sleeping in his bed one night in cabin number 2, which we'll go into right now. And he woke up to hear all these scratching and everything. And then he suddenly got yanked through the wall. Poor guy didn't make it through the night. Cockroaches got him after that. So anyway, in cabin 2, we've got some wonderful clothes on the wall, more speakers hidden everywhere, and we've got arrows that were painted kind of last minute to make sure people knew where to go, because during our trial run a couple nights before, people weren't sure. And this is our chicken exit, which we don't want people to go to. It just leads you out around the building, and That's not much fun. And then we've got his companion there on the floor, dressed in that sexy getup, and then another child outside the window who was on a motion sensor, and there was a fan that would blow the curtain open and turn on a light. Another ashtray. Everybody was a smoker back in the 50s when this place was running. So, I mean, one good thing about Maggot Lady here is that she was able to tell people that the kids are in the walls. And of course all these doors are phony. There's just doorknobs screwed into the wall and all the switch plates and stuff. Nothing really works. So however, all the lights in all the rooms were rigged to a circuit that would make them flicker in and out as if they had faulty wiring. So now we're back inside the walls again. There were hidden speakers here for icky insect sounds all around you, as you'd see the cockroaches in there. I think there were some spiders somewhere too. And then we've got a couple more Regatta kids coming up. We've got Sarah down there in her room. But first we've got this boy Johnny right here swinging from this rope, and he's got a hook on his other hand that he's ready to kind of swing around and gut whoever comes around the corner. And then we've got Sarah down here, and her arm would move and she'd be finger painting on the wall in blood because there's some dead guy next to her there. She was one of my favorites. So then moving on from Sarah, then we go into the boys' room where all the Regatta boys tend to hang out. So, and we've got the Bonami can, which is a reference to The Ghost in Mr. Chicken, which is a great old movie starring Don Knotts. A big inspiration for our haunts. And we've got these little tiny bunk beds in here with clothes and dolls and other artifacts sitting there. Lizzie Borden hatchet. And then on the walls we've got all these pin-up pictures that kind of set the tone and the era. And then a couple of in-joke pictures there of us from previous haunts. So you'd have to kind of walk through past that hanging corpse that you saw briefly. And as you walked in here, up above would be Billy, who was one of the other Regatta boys, and he popped down. He kind of pivoted on a 45-degree angle or so and popped down through that hanging plastic and frighten you. And then there's the hanging family. We got mom, dad, and the little boy just hanging there, and they don't do anything, but you've got to walk through them to proceed through the haunt. And of course there's sound effects. There were several speakers through this whole thing, and then you have to go through a slashed shower curtain which takes you into a small bathroom complete with toilet, which had colored lights and bubbles inside of it during the show. And this room is splattered with blood, and there's the scariest prop in the whole show. We probably shouldn't even look at that. But anyway, this room is partly inspired by the movie Saw, I guess. We had a green light hanging there, but then this is the best part of this room. Behind these towels, that's our secret room. And so we could be hiding back there and actually spring out on people as they're walking by. And then we go through these strings, and we're in cabin 3. And this is the last room. Here's the changing portrait from hauntedmemories.com. Not that I'm advertising. And then in this room, this was our grand finale scene. We've got Ma Regatta there. She's pregnant and she's kind of cackling at everybody as they leave. But then more importantly, to the right, inside the bed was one of the grown-up Regatta boys who springs up on you, or toward you. And he was a complex mechanism, and it actually didn't wind up working, I think, until the day before the show or the morning of the show. And he's all squashed down right now, but you'd have to look at the slideshow to see what he looked like standing up. And then you exit through the curtains, and as an exit, we came up with the idea to have these laundry lines with all this wash for all the kids and the adults. So that would be the exit to take you to the party, which was inside the shop building out back. So hopefully you enjoyed this little tour de force of the Motel of Terror 2008. Thanks for watching.